Let's do it. Okay, what's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Glitter and Garbage. I'm Justine Marino, joined today by someone I've been a huge fan of for a very long time.
Ooh.
Hilarious writer, hilarious comic. I have told you this, I think, every time I've seen you, which is not often, but we did a scene from your pilot in my acting class.
That's crazy. I remember that. Yeah.
My favorite scene I've ever done in that class. It's Dan Levy, you
Here
guys.
I am. I'm here.
Yes.
I'm very excited to be here. This is fun. The studio's nice.
Thank you.
It is 1,000 degrees outside, but it's nice in here.
It's so hot outside, and Burbank. Thank you for coming.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem. You really have to like someone or enjoy their podcast, and they're like, "Hey, come down." If you want to do my podcast, it's in Burbank.
I know.
Like, all right, let's get on the 134. Let's do this.
Let's
this is
do
nice.
it.
This is nice. It's a good studio.
No, it is a good studio, and it's not too bad. I would say there's some other, like, coming back during traffic time is not horrible from Burbank. Not like the West Side. I feel like that's closer to where I live, West Hollywood, but it takes longer because the traffic is insane.
If you have to do anything in Malibu, kill yourself.
Exactly.
like there's no reason. You're there forever. You know, you're like, I'm just gonna get an Airbnb.
Yeah, you just live there.
It takes 9 hours to
exactly.
get home.
No, it's so true.
I recently saw the movie The Long Goodbye, the 70s movie starring Elliot Gould.
Yeah.
And it's just funny to watch that, specifically thinking about traffic, which me and you are obsessed with, because in that movie, it takes place in the 70s, Elliot Gould is solving a crime. He's driving from Hollywood and Highland to Malibu constantly throughout the movie.
No.
And there's no traffic. There's no buildings. LA isn't built yet. I was like, this is the LA we should all live in.
Yes.
Anyways.
Do you remember the pandemic when there was no traffic ever?
Oh, yeah, that was the greatest time
ever. It was the best time of my life.
Except for everyone dying.
Yeah,
but
except
besides
for the deaths.
the no traffic was great.
The deaths also help with no traffic.
Yeah.
Well, it's so great to have you. We've been talking about this for a bit.
We have been trying.
And the first thing I want to ask you, people must maybe it doesn't happen as much anymore, but your name is very similar to
Dan Levy and Dan Levy.
Dan Levy and Dan Levy, the comedy powerhouses.
The comedy powerhouses. The comedy powerhouses. Yeah. So there's Dan Levy, who's the star of Schitt's Creek.
Yes.
And there's Dan Levy, who was the star of a Domino's commercial in 2003. But it did not air. It did not air. But it was for the cheeseburger pizza.
Really?
It was, yes.
I can see. And do they still do the cheeseburger pizza?
No, because what happened was I don't consider myself an actor. The very few acting roles I had was I was in the Domino's commercial.
Okay.
And I played a snooty man in House Bunny.
I love the House Bunny.
It's a great movie. And I played Snooty Man, and I was cut from the movie, but I'm in the extra scenes.
Great. I'll have to go back.
So I was there. But then also when I was shooting the Domino's commercial, it was actually directed by the Russo brothers. This was a very long time ago when they were doing TV shows. And everyone was like, hey, this is going to be I played Al, the Domino's guy.
I love it.
And they're like, hey, if this pizza does very well, this is going to be a gigantic campaign. And I was like very young, and I was like, yeah, well, maybe we'll do well. People love cheeseburgers. People love pizza. People will love the cheeseburger pizza. Cut to never airing.
Never airing.
I mean, no one wants a cheeseburger pizza.
No one
wants cheeseburger pizza.
It is weird when I feel like they were doing another weird mashup a couple of months ago. I heard about it was like a hot chicken cheeseburger. I don't know. It's like we don't need to. Some things should just be pure.
Yeah, just keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Yeah.
That being said, I'm sorry it didn't turn into your breakout. I'm sorry you're not the flow of Domino's.
I know. I could have still been out about just going like, hey, who likes that? I would be a cheeseburger pizza guy. Like walking down and people screaming like, hey, it's a cheeseburger pizza guy.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Remember the Dell computer guy?
Oh yeah, and obviously the Verizon guy.
Oh, the Verizon guy. Yeah.
Killer.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is Flo was my improv teacher at the Groundlings.
Oh my God.
Stephanie Courtney.
She is crushing it.
She's crushing it. I know. And I remember when she was my teacher, she had booked like a big Martin Short Broadway show, and she didn't end up taking it because she wanted to stay in LA, and we were all like, that's insane. And then like a year or two later, she got this massive progressive like that now she's just can retire on.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
When I worked on the Goldbergs, we cast her and she was like Wendy's friend for like tons of episodes.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was just funny because she like, you always think of her as Flo.
Totally.
And then she comes in like a different dress and you're like, oh no, she's just an actress.
Yeah, she is. And she's a great character actress.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a ton. You've worked on so many shows. What has been your favorite?
What has been my favorite? I mean, I enjoyed having my own show, but
As someone who's also had my own show, it is the best.
yeah, I will say out of all the shows I've worked on, the one that really was mine was the most fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was fun. It was exciting. But it was obviously only on for like a season, but we had a really good time, and it was a multi-cam. It's fun performing in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
And the cast was great. I did it with like my buddy Adam Pally and Fran Drescher and Stephen Weber. It was a really fun experience.
Yeah.
And I had a good time. And then it was just then it came out the day of the pandemic.
Perfect.
And we had an episode where Adam Pally got a virus, and NBC called and they're like, "Hey, I think we're gonna push that episode because everyone has COVID."
Oh
and I was
my
like,
God.
"All right, cool." But anyways, that was really fun. I like I liked the idea of like writing and having all these performers who are great live performers in front of an audience.
Right.
It was really fun to do.
That's
it kind
so
of felt
fun.
like, doing stand-up for all these years, like it kind of, and writing too, it kind of like brought all of my skill sets together. So it was fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did you always know you wanted to write?
I mean, I always knew I wanted to be in entertainment. Like my bar mitzvah theme was stand-up comedy. Like I did improv when I was 9.
I love
like
it.
I only did musical theater. I never played sports. So I always wanted to be in entertainment. And then when I was very young, like 9 or 10, I saw A&E Evening at the Improv, and I was like, oh, I love stand-up.
Yeah.
And then I became obsessed with stand-up, and I always there was like no other option in my mind. So I started doing, I was like performing and doing improv, and then I was doing like sketch comedy in New York City with and then I moved to Boston, and I started doing stand-up nonstop, and then I moved to LA.
I love it.
Yeah, so it was fun.
And one of my like earliest memories of you is I think we met. I have a creepy memory, so don't get weirded out. But at the John Lovitz Comedy Club.
Great comedy club. We were just talking about that comedy club the other night.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the new club that opened up in Hollywood and Highland.
Oh, Kookaburra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is really awesome, and they have a really good sound system. And we were saying the sound system reminds me of like when John Lovitz, they had that really incredible club, but it was just hard to get to.
Yeah.
But this club was really nice. But anyways, the John Lovitz Comedy Club.
Yeah, it was not set up for. Remember, there were like 3 stories.
Yeah, there were 3 stories. It took 9 years to park and then get to the stage.
Yeah.
And then there was always 2 people in the audience.
Totally. I was lucky because I was a tour guide at Universal, so I was already there.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I think they were like, let's just get this girl off a tour bus and put her on stage.
Is that how you started doing stand-up?
So I was a tour guide before stand-up, and then with stand-up, I was doing improv, and someone suggested I take a stand-up class, and I was like, I don't really care about stand-up, but I'm waiting for the next level at Groundlings. So I took a class when I was 23.
Okay.
Not expecting, like, really no attachment to it, and the first time they had a graduation show, and I was like hooked after that. It went well enough that I was insane enough to keep doing it, and now that's all I do. But yeah, but Universal working there did really help because a lot of times they would have me MC at the bottom of the escalator.
Adam Ray was doing it too, right?
Exactly, yeah. So Adam was a tour guide before me. When I got there, he was a character in the park. He was the New York cop, which is like...
He was Dr. Phil.
He was Dr. Phil, exactly. He was saying fucked up things to children. No, he was this random New York cop, not attached to like any movie or anything. And we would be talking about spots that night, and he would not break character. He'd be like in the New York cop talking, oh yeah, you're going to potluck tonight. So funny. But yeah, stand-up, I think doing stand-up helped me be a better tour guide and vice versa.
Well, that's amazing. So you were just at Universal, you walked in John Lovitz Comedy Club,
literally.
and I was there bombing.
You were there bombing, doing terribly. No, we were in the green room, and we chatted, and then you got up and you did this amazing joke. Obviously, everyone knows I'm an NSYNC fan till I die, and you did a Justin Timberlake joke.
Yes.
Now, I don't quite remember it. I'm not going to ask you to do it, but can you give like the gist?
Well, the gist was that I just moved to LA. I was living in North Hollywood. And I joined Bally's Total Fitness, which was one of those really shitty gyms where you sign up and you have a contract until you die.
Yeah.
And I had nothing to do, and I'd always go there.
Right.
And it was really shitty. Like I'm talking about just like viruses, ringworm. Like it was not a good look. Everyone there was completely insane. But so I would just like work out, and I'd see Josh Wolf. It was like me, Josh Wolf, and just like fully insane people. And then one day I'm downstairs, and it like smells bad. It's weird, and it's kind of empty. It's like 11 a.m. and I look over. and I see Justin Timberlake
At Bally's.
and this was like moments after the Janet Jackson debacle. Like it was
Really?
like that time of life.
Whoa.
So it was nuts, and I look over at him, and I'm like, is that fucking Justin Timberlake at Bally's Total Fitness?
Yeah.
So I was like, and I'm still this way, but I definitely was more this way when I was younger. I was like, I gotta say something to Justin Timberlake.
Of course.
So I have not so much anymore because I'm an adult, but I spent a lot of my life and a lot of my money buying and selling and collecting sneakers.
Okay.
So I was like a big sneaker person, especially during that time. So I was like, I'm going to say something about his sneakers because I noticed he was wearing Jordan 4s, which are like, great
Right.
Jordans. And during that time, it was, early 2000s, it was hard to get those shoes.
Sure.
And you couldn't even like overpay for them like you could now.
Right.
Like all the posers out there just
Yeah.
buying expensive sneakers. But during that time, you had to like, either know people at Nike or wait online. So it was
Right.
impressive. So
Right.
I was like, hey, I go, yo, Justin. Just like that. I just walk over to him. And I remember he was like, just like doing tricep extensions. And I was like, yo, Justin. And I was like, and he's like, what's up? And I was like, Justin, I really like your sneakers. And then Justin Timberlake looked at me and he goes, they're my whatever shoes. And that became like a huge joke that I did forever. And it was sort of like my like big joke that broke early on in my career when I did on Comedy Central and stuff. But yeah, that was this really funny time of seeing Justin Timberlake.
I love that you went up to him and you were like, isn't that funny when you see someone, you're like, I have something in you. You're like, I have to say something.
Yeah, it was, and I've done that a few times. Like
Yeah.
I one time sat on a plane next to Britney Spears' mom.
What?
Yeah, this
Lynn?
was Lynn Spears. I have her number in my cell phone.
What?
I don't think it's the right number anymore. This was also like early 2000s
Right.
where I was like on the road a lot. I won a competition that kind of sent me on this crazy college tour when I was younger. So I was always like flying around, and I sat and I had like 1,000,000 miles. I would always upgrade, and I sat next to this woman, and she was like, "I'm Lynn Spears, and I'm going home." And I was like, "Lynn Spears," and I was like, "Oh, this is Britney's mom." And she was like, "I was like, you Britney Spears' mom?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was flying in New Orleans, and she was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm a comedian. You want to come to my show?" And she's like, "Yeah, we'll come to your show." And she never came. But I gave her my phone number.
That's so
And I
funny.
still have her number. But yeah, so I always was never shy to talk to anyone.
That's so great, though.
Now I feel like it's annoying unless it's someone that I actually. What am I talking about? A week ago. I was walking out of the Comedy Store and I saw Kevin Costner, and I just walked over to him and I was like, "Hey man, I'm a huge fan." And I was like, "I like your boots." He's like, "My whatever boots." But,
My whatever boots.
But yeah, so I guess everything I just said is a lie. I talk to people all the time.
Yeah,
so,
no, and
yeah.
I love it. I know I like to be like, oh, I play it cool, but I don't. Like,
Yeah, it depends the level of the person. Like, I will play it cool
Yeah.
if it's someone, I don't know, like, I see Freddie Prinze a lot, like, and I love him, but I'm not gonna like
Yeah.
fan out over him, even though I love all his movies. But if I see like Kevin Costner or someone that's also so funny to meet, I
Yeah.
have to meet them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Also, to me, because obviously we're around a lot of like celebrity comedians and all that kind of stuff. A lot of celebrities come to the Comedy Store. But to me, if it's someone who's like so outside of the wheelhouse of like what I'm doing,
Right.
like I was telling you before we started, Jelly Roll came to the Comedy Store to the Comedy Jam on Sunday,
it's amazing.
which was cool. He did a song with Josh. It was awesome. But then the next night, we knew he might come back. He comes back and fucking Machine Gun Kelly just walks into the green room. No joke. Sometimes I'll be confident, but sometimes I got so overwhelmed. I had to like go to the showroom to the bathroom to like take a breath. He was so tall and hot.
Did you see his tattoos? Like
Yes,
his full
black
full
tattoo.
black tattoos.
Yes, I did. And he walks
look
in.
cool?
It looked cool. I wasn't sure before, but I was like, oh, I get it now. He walked in. It was so funny because they had an entourage, and like I'm about to go up. Bobby Lee's on stage. I'm going up after Bobby. I'm like going over my set. Jelly comes in. I'm like, hey, what's up? We saw him last night. I saw him on tour with Josh, so I got to meet him. So like he's great and it's awesome, but like we expected that. But then MGK comes in and it's just like, in what universe?
Wow.
And he's just on the phone and he's shaking everyone's hands, like being really very professional, if I may say. But he was on the phone taking a call, shaking everyone's hand. Couldn't have been lovelier. I go to the bathroom because I'm having a panic attack and start sweating. And I'm like,
Machine Gun Kelly.
I know, because of Machine Gun Kelly. It's so funny. It's like I'll meet really crazy famous people and be fine, but then there's just weirdly specific people who I just.
It was those tattoos.
It was. It's
His
the
tattoos were too hot.
They were too hot. And he was so tall.
I love pop punk music, you know?
yeah.
So I don't really know his rap music that well, but I love his pop punk song music. And I like listen to it a lot. And then I saw him at a park in Studio City. And I didn't say anything because he was on the phone, but
He's
he
always
was
on the phone, apparently.
walking a cat. So I was like, maybe he's crazy.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything, but I wanted to because I was like, oh, that's Machine Gun Kelly.
And obviously he's so tall, he's hard to miss.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He was great though. He was so nice. I left and went to the bathroom. I come back in. They're all leaving because they were going to an event on Sunset. And I was like, thank God. I would be too nervous if Machine Gun Kelly was in the crowd for my set.
Right, yeah.
But as we're leaving, Jelly Roll stopped me to introduce me to his wife and was like, this is Justine. I saw her last night. She's super funny. And his wife, Bunny, was super sweet. She gives me a big hug. And then MGK steps in and he goes, hey, I was on the phone back there. I'm Colson. Introduced me as his real name, Colson, and then he puts out his hand and we locked eyes and I was like, I get why Megan Fox drank his blood. I get it. Give me a straw. I'll drink it right now.
Did she drink his blood?
They drank each other's blood.
What?
Yeah,
That's
okay.
not true.
No, it is. So when they first started dating was right around when we started this podcast, and the crazy things they did. I mean, it's like Billy Bob and Angelina back in the day. Remember, like,
Yes.
they would wear each other's blood, and then they'd talk very openly about, like, fucking in the limo on the way to an event. Like,
Right.
it was that kind of thing. Like, I remember, I think they stayed in an Airbnb, and then I think Megan posted a picture of, like, the kitchen, and MGK commented, like, something along the lines of, I don't want to know what they had to do to clean that table. So, like, clearly they were having crazy sex all over. And they drank each other's blood. And I thought it was weird until I fucking met him and locked eyes with him, and now I would drink his blood.
Now you
any
will
day.
drink Colson's blood.
I will drink Colson's blood.
How do you do that? Like when you are them, like do you actually like take a syringe and do you pull the blood out and squirt it in like little shots, or are you just like biting each other and sucking like vampires? These are questions I have for you, Colson.
Honestly, I had no idea. I had never even thought about it. I'll do a little bit more research.
Yeah, get back to me.
I'll get back to you on that.
Thank you so much.
I hope they were taking shots of each other's blood, like just like multiple shots.
Why not?
Just fucking taking them back.
Live it up.
Live it up. Okay, so your boy Justin, though, I wonder if he had his whatever shoes on when he got pulled over and arrested for a DWI.
Yeah, driving fast in the Hamptons gets pulled over.
Yeah, he does. Now, DWI, we were trying to figure it out last week. Do you know what that stands for? I don't know.
Driving while intoxicated.
Okay, and is that the same as a DUI?
That's driving under the influence. I do not know.
Okay.
I've never gotten a DUI or a DWI, but I one time was
I don't know why I'm asking you like you're the
No.
expert.
But I do have a story. I was one time with a lady and we got pulled over. And we weren't even, it was actually unfortunate because we weren't actually driving. We were going from like a meter on like Sunset to another meter. And she got pulled over and she was like a little drunk and she got arrested. And I was in the car.
Oh, no.
And I was like, and I looked at the police officer. We were so young because we were both 20.
Yeah.
So we should not have been drinking. And the police officer, I was like, excuse me, officer, like, what should I do? And he's like, were you driving? And I was like, no. And he's like, then you should run. I was like, okay.
That's cool, at least.
Yeah, that was cool.
He lets you get away. Yeah, I've never gotten a DUI. I did get like a drinking ticket when I was younger, a minor in possession of alcohol ticket when I was younger.
Where'd you go? Florida?
Denver.
Okay.
Florida.
It just seems like a Florida thing.
It does. I brought the Florida to Denver.
Yeah, you really did.
I did. But I never got a DUI. I did get hit by a drunk driver once, though.
What?
I was at a mic. I forget this happened, but I was at a mic on Sunset at the Sunset Grill. Did you ever do that open mic there?
No.
Be glad.
Okay.
But I was backing out onto Sunset Boulevard, and all of a sudden I get hit, and I had a Discovery at the time, a Land Rover, so it was like a tank, so it didn't really do much, but it was like jarring, and we got out, and I'm like, fuck, this was totally my fault. Like, it was fully my fault. And then the cops come, they're like doing the paperwork, and they realize the guy's drunk. So I got off scot-free. I caused the accident and then got off scot-free.
Are you not you didn't get hurt or injured?
I didn't get hurt or anything. It was just like I was going slow, but he just didn't stop. But technically it was my fault because I was backing out, but sorry, dude.
Yeah, I remember there was one night I was driving to the Improv, and I was turning on Crescent Heights to like, it was Crescent Heights and Melrose, like turning right in there, and a Corvette came flying and slammed into my car and then donutted and drove away. And it was this white dude with a ponytail.
Yeah.
And
I
think he was drunk and never got him. And I was so mad. I was like, I spent all this time like driving around the city looking for a Corvette that was dented. I was like playing detective. I was so mad. And I also don't really remember what happened, but I remember my leg being like I didn't get cut or anything, but I was like fucked up, like my knee got hurt, and it was not good. Yeah,
it was like the best accident ever. I just like got hit, no injuries. It was my fault. I got off because he was drunk. Like, what are the odds?
How mad is that guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you fucking bitch!
I know, he's
Let
so
me drunk
mad.
drive in peace.
Exactly. That's so funny. Okay. Another item in the news this week.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw, J.Lo was photographed. Poor J.Lo, she cannot catch a break these days.
What's the latest with J.Lo? Will you fill me in?
Yes. So basically, J.Lo, she's married to Ben, obviously, did this whole big musical visual album.
Mm-hmm. I saw the Amazon thing.
Yes. So she did a visual album, kind of like a Lemonade. I feel weird even putting those two in the same category.
Okay.
But it was like a very campy, just all music, 1-hour movie about her love for Ben and how much she loves him. She also did a documentary about the making of this. She funded it all herself, like $20 million. It all bombed. Her new album bombed. She was supposed to go on tour. She canceled the tour because the ticket sales were so bad. Like,
oh God, I did not know any of this.
Really?
I've been too focused on MGK.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Trust me, we locked eyes.
Yeah.
I get it. But so basically, she's having a rough time. And then suddenly, around the time all of this is happening, people started getting the ick from her, always talking about how she's from the Bronx, and she's constantly, there was a video going around of her saying, oh, I used to get my ham sandwich and orange drink in the Bronx. And then there was another another clip of her being like, her hair's all kind of messy, and she's like, this reminds me of when I was a 16-year-old girl in the Bronx just running around. And everyone's like, bitch, you haven't been in the Bronx forever. Like, shut the fuck up. So people really started turning on her, and then on top of that, her ticket sales were plummeting, and then on top of that, she and Ben are, a lot of people think, headed for divorce. Like, they haven't really been hanging together. So
really,
she's got a lot going on, and on top of all that, she gets photographed flying commercial.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
What is she doing? What airline?
I don't know. She was on vacation in Italy, and then she was just, I think it was first class, thank God. But I mean,
thank God.
Thank God. But
well, what do you think? She spent all of her money on all these projects.
It's true.
Like I said, she can charter a jet. She's spent $20 million on an Amazon movie to show her love to Ben Affleck.
And it fucking flopped.
Oh man, poor J.Lo. I feel bad.
I feel bad too. I do. I know.
I feel bad. We should start a GoFundMe.
Let's
start a GoFundMe for J.Lo. She deserves it. This is a very specific GoFundMe.
Yeah.
It's to get money for J.Lo to start flying private again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
think it's a good idea.
That's what she needs. But
she needs to do that.
I was wondering, I was like, is she trying to be more relatable, more Jenny from the block,
From the Bronx.
From the Bronx, exactly.
She's just screaming from first class. This is what it was like being in the Bronx. This is the Bronx, baby.
This is the Bronx, baby. Oh my God. I think that's the name of the episode.
It really is.
Yeah.
This is the Bronx.
This is the Bronx. So poor J.Lo. I'm glad I got you caught up though, because it's really.
Yeah, I actually am a huge J.Lo fan. Like, I'm impressed with how fucking good she looks always.
Oh, yeah.
She's really kept it together. I've been a fan since she was a Fly Girl.
Yeah.
She made a few good movies, made a few bad movies. Yeah. But, what are you going to do? I'm saddened to hear that she's going through this tough time. I don't know why you would do that. Like, I guess the idea is that you would fund this movie.
Yeah.
My question is, you probably don't know the answer, is did she fund this movie and then sell it to Amazon? Or did she just fund the movie and just place it on Amazon? Because I do wonder if they paid her for the movie and it didn't work. It doesn't matter. She got her money back. I'm just nervous that Jenny's in the hole.
I'm nervous too, because here's what I'll say. I do have a little inside info. I don't know the exact answer to that question, but I was blessed enough to go to the premiere of this musical
Mazel.
movie. It was just, I actually, no joke, this purse, I have the ticket in here from the premiere.
This is me, now.
Exactly.
At the Dolby.
At the Dolby.
Was it a fun premiere?
It was a fun premiere. I just happened to have this in there. How kismet.
Here's my question. When you're at a premiere, you know, and or when you're at like a taping of something, I feel like a lot of times you leave these events being like, that was the best movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And then it comes out and everyone's like, this is the worst movie of the century. And you're like, wait, what? And that happens when you go to like TV tapings or anything. You're like, I'm fucking loving this. This is the greatest thing ever. And you watch it like, pretend I wasn't there. So my question is, when you were sitting there watching the J.Lo movie, were you like, I fucking love J.Lo. She killed it again. Exactly. I knew it.
I was like, the queen, she can do no wrong.
She can do no wrong.
This is a slam dunk. But also it was fun because all the dancers and choreographers were there too.
Yeah, of course.
And they are such a lively bunch that we were all laughing. Like, it was fun. It was a very lively crowd. It was like a fucking opening night premiere. It was a great crowd. I will say she did get up and liken the movie to a mini Marvel movie, which was hilarious. And then she said, it's hard being an artist, putting your own money, funds are tight. We were all like, bitch, funds are tight. What are you talking about? So
She's talking about the economy.
Yeah,
Not her funds.
Not
just
her
like
own funds.
The world funds.
Exactly. So I don't know if maybe now her funds are a little tighter, and they might be even tighter if she's getting a divorce,
Oh, wow. Well, I would assume they have 1,000 prenups.
Yes, I'm sure. They have to, right? I mean, she's been married, like, 3 or 4 times. He's been married
They've been
twice
married
now.
to each other before, right?
They were engaged.
Oh, okay. And now they're married.
And now they're married.
Okay.
Yeah. And, I mean, I'm just of the belief, if you break up once, there's something to that. You know what I mean? Like, every relationship I've had where we broke up and got back together, it was never better the second time.
Well, did you see that clip of Ben Affleck, I think, being interviewed by Kevin Hart? It's just like a clip, so I don't even know any context, but the clip is just him going, I mean, J.Lo's so fucking famous. And I'm like, what is this about? I mean, it's just a funny thing for Ben Affleck to say.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, poor Ben and J.Lo. I'm still pulling for them.
I love them. I think Ben Affleck's great.
I love Ben Affleck.
He's in a great movie.
I was born in Boston, so I grew up in Denver, but born in Boston. We don't have time for the whole story, but I
love Denver. I would like to move to Colorado.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I get, when I have enough that I don't need to, when I'm like successful enough, I don't need to be here all the time, I will definitely go to
You think you go back? Or is your family still there?
Yeah. And it's so great. My boyfriend's from there, so he still has a house there. So, I mean, we
Your
could go
boyfriend
back.
MGK?
My boyfriend MGK.
Does your boyfriend know that you are dumping him as soon as you get a call or a DM from MGK? Is your boyfriend aware of this?
You know what?
Because we're all aware of it. So I want to make sure he's aware of it.
You know what's funny is I got really into his music a couple years ago as well, MGK.
Okay. Yeah.
His pop punk, I think it's so fun. My ex's best friend, such a great song.
Great song.
So poppy. I got so into it and was listening to it so much that my boyfriend started like planting pictures of MGK around the apartment as a joke. Like, I'd open my glasses case and it'd just be a picture of MGK.
And then you were like, how was the night? Oh, it was pretty good. I had a panic attack as I met MGK and then we locked eyes. Cool.
I was like, MGK is here. No, we locked eyes and there was a
thing.
I was changed.
Here's a question. If you did get a DM from him and he said, hey, it was so nice meeting you. Will you come to my show? Could we go on a date? What would you do?
Oh, that's so tough.
That's a tough question because you're not married.
I'm not married. I have been with my boyfriend for 10 years.
Oh, well, then this should be a quicker answer than this.
Yeah, I think I'd have to be like, Colson, thank you so much. I'm so flattered. Check back in a few months,
Check back. We've been together for 10 years, but this DM is making some breaks in the relationship. That's
also,
so funny.
I think he's still with Megan Fox, I think
so too. Yeah. It's not a reality for you.
Not.
Let's put that in your head so you don't really.
It's not. I know. I cut to
you don't
me.
spiral.
I'm like, I gotta
come
go.
home. We need to talk.
I break up with my boyfriend as soon as I get
Of
home.
10 years.
I'm like,
Because you might get a DM from MGK.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Cut to
Okay.
you dating Jelly Roll. Okay.
I fucking love Jelly Roll,
great.
though. He's so great.
I love him.
The name is so funny, though. If people aren't familiar with him, I'm like, do you know Jelly Roll? It
Yeah.
sounds like I'm making something up.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's so great. Wait, what would your what would your musician name be if you had to be one?
Dan Levy.
Dan Levy.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know what my musician name. I was in a band. I was in a pop punk band in middle school called Carbonated Peanut Butter.
Okay.
And then I was in another band called Race Car.
Okay.
So I guess maybe I would just go back to Carbonated Peanut Butter.
I think that's pretty solid.
Yeah, we were pretty bad.
Okay. What did you play instrument?
I played bass.
Okay.
But then I stopped. I wish I continued. There was a moment of my life where I was like playing bass and I was very into rollerblading.
Yeah.
And I had like a wheel sponsorship and I thought that I was not a joke. I thought that I was going fully professional into rollerblading. And I was like talking to Fat Wheels on the phone. And I was telling my parents, I was like, hey, just so you know, I'm either going to be a rollerblader or I'm going to be in Red Hot Chili Peppers. I was severely mentally ill.
That's why you do stand-up comedy.
That's why you stand-up comedy now. But that's what I thought. So I had this like time of my life where I was like playing bass and I was like playing Space Hog and Rancid and Green Day, all music I still listen to, and being into rollerblading, wearing Jinkos. That was my life. Pretty much how everyone is dressing now is like how I dressed. I went through that phase already.
Same. I was in middle school. I wore Jinkos. We dressed like skaters. We did not skate. None of us skated. We were such fucking posers. But Jinkos look cool, man.
I mean, I was rollerblading when there was some real friction with the skateboarders and the rollerbladers.
Wow.
And we would go to Bennigan's and we'd like skate down. We'd like, seriously, the worst story of all time. We would rollerblade at Bennigan's and there would be beef with skateboarders. Can you be more Caucasian? So then they were not cool with us.
Yeah.
But then eventually, you know, people, not me, but there were some other kids in my city that were really good at rollerblading and were impressing the skateboarders and they were having some fun.
I love that.
Yeah, it was cool.
Do you still blade every now and then?
No, I did move to LA with my blades.
Yeah.
But you know, people make fun of you and then it starts to get a little more personal and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna stop rollerblading.
Better just give up.
Yeah, I took them to Venice a few times and I was like, these are my people. Kind of like in Barbie. Like I think that might have been stolen from my life. Like definitely the first few months I was in LA, I was just like rollerblading a lot in Venice, living in North Hollywood, driving to Venice just to like rollerblade by myself.
Oh my God.
Trying to make friends.
Oh, that's so cute though.
But now I don't rollerblade, but I still have my pads.
And you have some friends, right? You made friends.
I made rollerblading friends.
You did.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it. Okay. Everyone who comes on this podcast, I ask, what do you fangirl or fanboy over? Like, what? Like, it could be music, movies, actors, anything. One person said lighting once, that they fanboy over lighting.
Ooh, what do I fanboy over? I mean, I guess I am kind of. I have a few things that I'm.
You can say a few.
A few things that I'm into. I mean, I guess I really fanboy over The Rock. If I'm gonna be completely honest with all of us, I love The Rock.
Okay.
And I spend most of my time looking at workout memes. So that's really like my algorithm.
Perfect.
But yeah, I believe that The Rock is the greatest celebrity.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just a big fan of his work ethic. I'm a big fan of how he works out. I'm a big fan of his body.
He's got
how
a
he
great
keeps
body.
it together. He makes a lot of movies. He works so much. He's got a great story.
I love it.
I like The Rock.
You love The Rock.
I love The Rock.
No shame here. Okay?
No. I mean, I do think he should be president.
Yeah, he should be.
He should be president.
He'd be a great president.
Imagine if he was. I know this podcast won't be out during this time, but the debates are on tonight.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yes.
If it was Joe Biden and Donald Trump versus The Rock?
The Rock.
Come on.
Oh my God.
While squatting.
So good.
Yeah.
Yes.
One time I have a good friend named Kevin who is a personal trainer. He owns a bunch of gyms in LA. And we were talking about politics, which I don't really do that much anyways. But he said, dead serious, he goes, we just need a president who's ripped and who takes fitness seriously and makes it mandatory for America. And I was like, That's amazing. An amazing statement. And that would be so funny if that was real.
Yeah.
But only The Rock can deliver that, you know?
Right.
Like, imagine if, like, you could only stay in America if you had a six-pack.
Right.
I don't know. It's pretty funny.
I love that. I would work really hard to maintain my six-pack. Just fucking stay here.
He's also the same guy, though, who texts me at 4 a.m. and says, be a fucking lion. So, you know.
Okay.
He's that guy. But I love The Rock.
I love that you love The Rock.
Don't you love The Rock?
I do. Who doesn't love The Rock? You know who else I love? He's a little controversial, but I feel like he's gotten over it. Tom Cruise, I think, is just like
It's great.
ultimate movie star.
Love movie stars.
You know what I mean?
Because there's no more movie stars. That's why I
Yeah.
earlier in the podcast brought up that movie, The Long Goodbye.
Yeah.
And that was like, you know, there was maybe like 80 people in show business in the 70s.
Yeah.
So like everyone was getting these amazing opportunities. They
Yeah.
were making movies, figuring out how to make movies, and people were becoming stars. You know, like Warren Beatty, like all these guys. Like it's incredible. There just isn't that anymore.
No.
Unfortunately, maybe there'll be a new wave, but it's hard with like so many celebrities being social media influencers and all kind of stuff,
Totally.
which is cool, but it's not Tom Cruise.
It's
you
not
know?
Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt. Like those
Yeah,
are
yeah.
movie stars. You know who I think has the he could do it is Glenn Powell.
Oh yeah, Glenn Powell could be a movie star. He's a movie star.
I think he could be a movie star. He's charming as shit. He seems likable and down to earth, regardless if he really is or not.
Yeah.
But he's fucking good looking. That smile and the body. He could be president.
Another movie star that I saw one time, also
Yes.
sneaker related,
Yes.
is I was walking out of the old Nike town that was on Wilshire.
Yeah.
And while I was in Nike town, I spotted Denzel Washington.
Oh my God.
But I didn't want to say anything because it was a very busy Nike town. He had multiple people around him. I couldn't like walk over like I did for Justin.
Right.
So I saw him leaving,
Yeah.
and his windows were down. I go, Denzel, and he goes, yes, and I go, get some Air Force Ones, because I knew he did, and he goes, mm-hmm. And then he slowly put the window up, and I was like, yeah, Denzel.
Yes.
It was like my train day moment, but with sneakers. It was amazing.
I love that.
I love Denzel. And I also would say another controversial person, very controversial,
Yes.
especially in the comedy space. One time early on in my life in LA, was at a bowling alley, and I felt this sort of presence. I was like, this is like a insane energy, you know? And I looked over and it was Will Smith.
Oh, of
And that was
course.
the first time where I was like, oh, this is like a movie star
Totally.
energy. You know, it was sort of like really the height of Will Smith in like the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was another time where I was like,
that's a
oh,
good one.
that's a good one. Yeah.
Who's your favorite?
Oh, wait.
Yes.
No, I have the greatest thing.
Yes,
I've
please.
never even told this story before.
Yes.
So my mom, Linda, loves LA, loves show business, calls celebrities personalities. You know, she thinks I'm the greatest person in the world, the most successful person in the world. So
You are.
every time she comes here, which is a lot, we go out somewhere and she hopes to see, you know, a celebrity.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people, I have a bunch of kids. A lot of people's parents come out here and they like watch their kids and they get to go out and have fun, live their life.
Yeah.
My mom comes here and she's like, are we going to go to Pache? You know? So,
She knows all the spots.
yeah. So there was one time where she was like, let's go out. I was like, yeah, let's go out. There's this restaurant in Beverly Hills. I think it could be, maybe we'll see someone. You know? So we go. I can't remember the name of the restaurant. It's going to kill me. Oh, AOC.
Okay.
So yeah, so we go to AOC and we get out and they're like, it's a little busy, but we have a reservation. We're going to have you stay upstairs in the wine bar. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, what's the wine bar? And it's me and my wife and my mom. And we walk up and it's like sort of like a little attic. And I was like, oh, this is so annoying. Because she's not going to see any celebrities.
Yeah, of course.
But we're by the window that looks down into the actual restaurant. So I was like, oh, Mom, look, there you can see some people. So she's like, okay. And we're sitting there. It's like my mom's here and me and my wife are like facing her. And it's like only like a few other people in this like little small space. And we're sitting there and I was like, I think that's Jeffrey Katzenberg. And like I point Jeffrey Katzenberg and Mom's like, okay, you know. And she's like, he's Jewish. I'm like, yeah, he's obviously Jewish. And then we're sitting there, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we're not gonna see any celebrities. We're gonna just like be up here in this wine bar. And we're sitting there, and we get our waters, and me and my wife are right here. And the door opens, and we look up, and it's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wait.
Yes.
That's my ultimate.
I know. I know.
I mean, I have a heart
I
of the
know.
ocean
I've seen the podcast. So then he opens the door with like a very beautiful, very thin model.
Of course.
And he starts walking towards me and my mom is facing us, like looking into the window to see if there's anyone she could see. And we are like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I go, Mom? She goes, yeah. I go, don't freak out. She goes, what? I go, don't turn around. She goes, I go, don't turn around. She goes, what's going on? Is everything okay? I was like, Mom, just relax. And I go, look at your phone. So I text my mom. Leonardo DiCaprio comes and sits back to back with my mom. Okay? And I go, do not freak out. But behind you is Leonardo DiCaprio. And my mom reads the text and goes, holy fucking shit! And then we're like trying to act cool. And it was so funny.
Oh my
God. He like downs like a glass of white wine, goes outside, starts chain smoking. My mom's like looking around, think we can't believe it. We look at like the model, and she's like, and then she drinks her wine. He comes back. They get the check and they leave. When they leave, there was only like maybe 12 of us in this little attic. Everyone goes, oh! Everyone's freaking out. They start coming over and taking pictures of the chair he was sitting on. My mom in the background being like, I met him.
That's so funny.
It was one of my, I forgot. That's the greatest. That was one of the greatest.
That's ultimate.
Ever.
Oh, that's such a good one.
Yeah.
I saw him once. The glitterati knows, but when I was a tour guide at Universal, this is a funny story. So Leo loves the tour, by the way.
Oh, really?
He loves to come on the VIP tour and bring people. Normally he does VIP, but for some reason, I think he had been on a VIP tour, or maybe he was on the lot for something. It was when he was dating Blake Lively. And he decided...
I didn't know he dated Blake Lively.
Fucking keep up, man.
God damn it, you know everything.
You need me.
I need you. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so they dated probably like 2011.
Oh, wow.
2012. So they're there. We get the call that he wants to come on a regular tour, like on the tram. I'm emceeing that day. So
Okay.
I'm standing at the bottom of the escalator, like, greeting people. I'm not giving tours that day. And I'm like, oh, thank God, I don't want to meet Leonardo DiCaprio in a tour guide uniform. Like, I don't want this to be the way we meet.
Not like this.
Yeah, I was like, not like this. So it's the last tram of the day, the last one going out, and we had run out of tour guides. And they were like, Justine, you might have to give the tour. And I start sweating so profusely. I'm like, no, not like this. And then thankfully someone got back in time to give the tour. Okay. But I was able to see them. They put them in their own, like, it's a 4-car tram, and they put them in their own tram. And they were like,
oh, I've taken the tour.
Oh, you have?
I love it.
I love it too. It's so good. I mean, anytime I go back, I love going on the tour.
My son is obsessed with horror movies, and we took him to Universal Horror Nights this year, and it was the first time, and he fucking loved it.
It's the best.
He freaked out at first, and then he was like, oh,
this is
so awesome.
Fun.
It's so scary. I love it.
It's so fun. Oh, yeah. It was the best. And working that back in the day was so good. It's such a joke.
Oh, you got to work?
I used to work it. Yeah. So
that's amazing.
There was one year, the year they put in the new King Kong, because the original one burned down or whatever. There was a feature ride where it wasn't anything scary. They were just taking people through King Kong. It was the easiest I would just do 2 loops of King Kong and then like hang out in a trailer on the lot all day. It was the best. That was the best job.
That's amazing.
But I did see Leo that time, but luckily did not have to give him the tour.
And also the first time I ever saw Leo, that was my greatest story. But when I first came to LA in like 2001, I was still living in Boston. I came and stayed with my friend Josh, and it was it was 2001. DJ AM was a DJ at this club in Las Palmas. It was like during that time, and my friend was from LA, so he like knew everyone. He like brought me in the club, and it was like a cool like Hollywood thing. And I remember at the bar, I was like, these girls came over me and they're like, it's our birthday. And I had no idea that meant that's a free way of getting drinks for girls. And I was like, cool, happy birthday. You know, I was like, it's their birthday. And I bought all these girls with, I had $1 and I bought them drinks.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to like talk to that girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, and then she like walked away from me. And then I went and she's like walked away and just started hanging out with this guy. And I was so annoyed. And then I went to go pee. And then the same guy sort of followed me in the bathroom, sat next to me, and like started peeing next to me. I look over, and that guy with his hat was Leonardo DiCaprio. And I was like, this bitch, I bought her a drink, and now she's going to be with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh my God. You peed next to Leo?
I peed next to him. My mom sat back to back with him. I mean, I'm basically his best friend.
You're basically besties.
Yeah, I really am.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so
that must be so weird, because like with girls, when we go to the bathroom, it's like separate stalls. But with dudes, it's just like, we're all
hey,
fucking
what's up? Let's do it. Hip to hip.
Hip to hip. Yeah, do you guys chat when you're in there?
Not really. No, it's not like a, hey man, You into golf?
Because girls in the bathroom, it's like a sacred. They're all like helping each other, holding like.
Yeah.
The girl friendships in the bathroom. It's a real. They should do a documentary and just have a camera in a bathroom. With
no one's ever like, hey, could you get my zipper? Like,
yeah. No joke. I went to a premiere last year. I wore this Skims faux leather catsuit that I could not get myself in and out of. So I had to, when I went to the bathroom, I had to wait.
Why would you wear that?
Because it looked good, Dan. Okay.
A catsuit?
A catsuit.
Okay.
It looked great.
No, I'm sure it looked great, but like, why would you put yourself in that situation? Did you think I would have to pee at some point?
Yeah, I tried to stop drinking water like hours before I went, but obviously after we were at the after party and it's been like 4 hours. I'm like, okay, I probably should pee. So I go to the bathroom and just waited for an angel to come in and unzip me. And she unzipped me, waited for me to pee, and then zipped me back up.
Wow.
That's the power of the girls' bathroom.
No one's doing that for any guy ever.
I love the idea of you guys just like chatting at the
like if I was like, hey, can you help me just like unzip my cat suit?
You look great in a catsuit, though.
Yeah, I would look great. Yeah.
Okay, couple more things and then we'll wrap up. Okay,
love it. Loving this podcast.
I did want to talk about though. I hadn't seen you in a really long time, and then a couple months ago,
yes,
we were on a crazy show together.
Yes,
Marco Del Vecchio, who has been
Marco.
on this podcast, we love him. But this show was fucking insane. It was all just hot people from reality shows.
It was so weird. So I kind of like got really like way back into stand-up the past couple of years, and it's been awesome. So I am now sort of in that situation where I'm sure you are, where you kind of get texts or emails constantly being like, you want to do a show,
Yeah.
And my thing has been like, I'm going to say yes to any show, So I'm just like, yes, sure, I'll do it. And then they pop up and you're like, oh, fuck, what did I agree to?
Yeah, exactly.
Always. Every week, I go to some weird fucking place and I'm like, I got to start Googling the locations before I say yes. And this was one of those things where it was like a Saturday night, and the way I met Marco, I was with Nikki Glazer. Marco comes up. He was on F-Boy Island.
Right.
And Nikki's like, Marco's so funny. Marco's so great. Oh, this is Dan. He's a comedian. He's so funny. And Marco's like, great, man. I have a show. Cool. And I was like, great. Gave him my number.
Yeah.
Like immediately was like, could you do, February 7th? And I was like, yeah. Like no idea what day it is. So I'm like, sure. He's like, it's right on Sunset. It's by the Comedy Store. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I start driving to the location of the show. And I'm like, this is past where stuff is on Sunset. But I'll like, when there's street parking on Sunset Boulevard, you're no longer in anywhere that is lifelike.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like, okay. So I'm like, I guess it's in this painted black building.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, well, I don't know if it will be, this like a lot of riffraffs coming out the side. And I was like, oh no, this is where it is.
This is it.
So I follow a weird rope. Yep. We go up the stairs and I start going down like a very thin hallway.
Yeah.
And I see no one. And then it looks like I'm going to a dark room.
Yep.
Where they would record like a podcast.
Yeah.
And then I see you, and I was like, okay, good. Someone I know is here who's funny. This is going to be a good show. And then I walk inside, and it is basically what you described as it was a tiny room with no windows, with a green screen, even though we were not being filmed.
No, we were not.
And there was an audience of maybe like 40 people who were drinking, and they were all on drugs, and they were very young, and they were like, I guess... The best way to describe it is they all seemed like they lived in a hype house.
Yes, they did.
And they loved me.
Yeah, they did love you. You crushed.
They loved me, but I was like, where am I?
Yeah, no, it was insane.
It was so crazy, and they were so young, and so many of them were not wearing a lot of clothes.
Yeah, no, they were very young, and they were all hot, and I had no idea what was happening. I had met Marco on another podcast at Jam in the Van, on my friends Billy and Sammy's podcast, and I go in, and he and I were both the guests, and he's just like serving drinks. I thought he was the bartender at first. I was like, who's this bartender? And then it turns out he was doing the podcast with us. That's just so Marco, you know?
Marco. And he was like, let me show you around. And like, he just started walking around the recording studio, and he was like, you want to do a pod now? And I was like, what? Right now? I was like, we can't do a podcast. I got to go on. Like, it was just like, it seemed completely nuts. Like, I met a guy who owned the building, who bought the other. I was like, what is going on here?
Like, what's happening? Oh, but you went up early because you were like, I have a family. I got to get out of here.
By the way, it's always funny when I use the excuse, I have a family, because they're always sleeping. But I'm just like, yeah, it's 9 o'clock. I gotta get out of here. I have a baby, and she's up till 12.
Yeah.
You know?
She's a night owl.
Yeah, it's like everyone goes to bed at 7, but it's a great excuse.
So I let like 3 people go ahead of me.
Yeah.
That day I had taken not a full dose, but like a little microdose of mushrooms. And I forgot about the show until like an hour before. So I live close. I just walked over and I was like, what the fuck is this? But also the mushrooms, I was like, I am really on mushrooms because this is very strange.
Yeah.
It was like carpets. But when you went up, you crushed. A couple people after you, the like cleaning crew comes in.
Oh yeah. No, we were talking when the cleaning crew came in.
Yeah.
And it was like, and they were confused.
Yeah.
Because there was like 40 people in the hallway because it was one of those comedy shows and it was a good show.
Yeah, it was great.
But a lot of times in comedy, you kind of get to a show and the people there aren't really comedy fans.
Yes.
They're just like down for an event.
Yes.
And so many of them were from like Calabasas and Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
And the idea of driving on the 101 that long to come to this situation was hilarious.
So funny.
So the cleaning crew, who usually are cleaning up an empty building, found themselves at a rave.
Yes, it was. What was crazy is this building, it felt like mostly offices and then just this one studio. So imagine like a dentist office.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
That's what it felt like. And then we're talking in the hallway and we're like, where the fuck are we? And then the cleaning crew comes out and starts vacuuming. We were like, what is happening? But what's hilarious is when I went up, I had a joke about, liking tall guys, and all the guys just start yelling out their heights. It was, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Unless MGK is here, it's not happening.
It's not happening. I'm in a relationship for 10 years and it is strong unless MGK tries to break it up.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was the weirdest show. And after that, I was like, you have to do my podcast. We have to talk about it.
We have to talk about it. And we did.
We did.
Marco's a great guy.
I love Marco. He's been on the pod before. He's just like he's the party guy.
Yeah, that was the other funny thing. Like just him telling you his story. He was like, yeah, I know today's a crazy day. Like, I'm moving out of a house in the hills to another house in the hills because things are getting crazy with the landlord and the partying. I was like, okay, cool.
And then I remember, I love him. He told us this story about a girl, and he was like, can you believe she did this? And we were like, wait, you're in the wrong here.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was so funny.
He was like, it was so messed up. It was like, we were dating, and then I was like, hey, I need to like cheat on you. And she's like, what? And I was like, fucking, we can't work it out then.
We were like,
he's like, can you believe this girl?
I know.
Like, well, Marco.
Huge twist in the story.
Yeah.
I love Marco though. He's the best.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, he's, he was from F-Boy Island.
Yeah,
it's like,
so,
you kind of expect that sort of lifestyle.
I love his
with
lifestyle.
Someone like Marco, I love him. Yeah.
Anytime I click on his story, he's just shotgunning, hard sodas. Like, it's great.
It's great.
Fucking all I need from Marco.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 more questions that I ask everyone. I feel like I know your answer for this one because you're from the East Coast, right? Are
Stanford, Connecticut.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Are you Twizzlers or Red Vines?
Twizzlers.
I knew it. I feel like
and if I'm going to be more specific, I'm Nibs.
You're Nibs. I do think Nibs are better than regular Twists. I'm a Red Vines girl. I think Colorado. I think West Coast is more Red Vines. East Coast is more Twizzlers.
But I would say my favorite licorice is licorice pipes.
Oh, what's that?
They are licorice pipes. They
it's so clear now.
Yeah,
I totally get it.
They're shaped as pipes.
Okay.
And they usually sell them at like the medieval times or like a Renaissance fair or like an old school candy shop.
Okay.
Like if a candy shop that you find like in the middle of Ojai or Santa Barbara.
Perfect.
Like an old school candy shop. And they're delicious and it's like hard licorice.
Oh, nice.
And that's my favorite type of licorice. I was a very big candy person, but I had so much cavities and root canals and tooth implants.
Oh.
Because I just ate candy my entire childhood. My parents were like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I like went to the dentist maybe once. And then I became an adult and they're like, what the fuck? So then I had to get 2 tooth implants and root canals. It was a whole situation. So now I'm trying to, I try to be good.
Okay, great.
Plus I'm trying to be ripped up like The Rock.
We're trying to get, we're trying to be president.
I'm trying to be president, so.
Okay.
Can't have that much sugar.
Yeah. Have you had an Australian licorice before?
Yes.
That's good too.
That's good, but that's sticky. It gets stuck in your teeth.
It does.
That is if you want cavities, Australian licorice is for you.
Okay, last question. Do you know what cum gutters are?
Cum gutters.
Cum gutters.
Is that the thing on the side of your abs?
Yes. We got another one, Aaron.
There we go. You asked that question to everyone?
I do ask everyone because I casually, my friend, you must know Caroline Goldfarb, right?
Yes.
So Caroline is a favorite on this pod, and she dropped that term. I hadn't heard it in forever, and I was like, I love cum gutters. We got to bring it back. And then I was using it, and everyone was like, what are you talking
I don't
about?
understand why it's called that, but I know that is that.
Okay, good.
Do you know the reason?
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
It feels like it needs a rebrand. In this day where fitness is so important and everyone's trying to be so healthy, I feel like the cum gutter look is a great look to have. It shows that you care about your body and you're being healthy, but the name is not great. The name is not great.
No, it's not great. We should work on it. We'll work on it. What do you, I always called it the V too.
Yeah, the V.
The V is good.
The Dorito.
The Dorito is really good.
I just thought of that.
That's fucking great.
Yeah.
I'll call the cum gutter headquarters
Call
and
the
let
cum
them
gutter
know.
headquarters.
All right, this has been so fun. It flew by.
Okay.
Where can everyone find you and follow you?
You could follow me on Instagram at Dan Levy Show. I'm also on TikTok. I think it's Dan Levy Comedy. I'm not big on. I don't do a lot of TikTok.
Me neither.
But I'm in a weird algorithm of TikTok right now where when I go on TikTok, all I am watching are 35-year-old guys with beards on a sailboat going across the world by themselves, and I can't get out of this algorithm.
I love it.
So yes, but all my clips are on these
cool
platforms, and you could come to my shows and
perfect.
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing it, and we'll see
I'm
you guys.
so sorry that you're breaking up with your boyfriend of 10 years. But I think it's worth it because MGK is awesome.
Hello, the music. Maybe he'll write a song.
Come on. I'll drink your blood.
As long as he drinks my blood.
That's all that matters.
You guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll
Thanks
see you
for
next
watching.
time on Glitter and Garbage. Bye.
Bye.